Good morning everybody. Today we see about biography of V.V. Giri, who is the fourth president of India. Varahagiri Venkatagiri was an Indian politician and activist who served as the fourth president of India from 24th August 1969 to 24th August 1974. He also third Vice President of India from 13 May 1967 to 3rd May 1969. He is the first President to be elected as an independent candidate. He was succeeded by Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed as President in 1974. After the end of his full term, Giri was honored by the Government of India with the Bharat Ratna in 1975. Giri died on 24 June 1980. V.V. Giri was born in Berhampur, Madras Presidency into a Telugu-speaking family. His parents hailed from Chindlapudi village in East Godavari district of Andhra Pradesh and shifted to Berhampur for their bright future. His father, V.V. Chokaya Bandalu, was a successful lawyer and political activist of the Indian National Congress who has been working at Berhampur. Giri's mother, Subramanda, was active in the national movement in Berhampur during the non-cooperation and the civil disobedience movements and was arrested for leading a strike for prohibition during the civil disobedience movement. Giri was married to Saraswati Bai and the couple had 14 children. Giri completed his initial primary education at Hilpatna Primary School, Berhampur, and higher education at the Kalikot College and Unitary University, then affiliated with Madras University in Chennai. V.V. Giri was also elected to the Student Union of Kalikot College for 3 consecutive times and highly active in freedom movement during his students' days in Berhampur. In 1913, he went to Ireland to study law, which he did at University College Dublin and the Honourable Society of King's Inns, Dublin between 1913 and 1916. Giri was one among the first crop of 13 Indian students who sat the obligatory year-long course at UCD in 1914-15. This was a requirement for being called to the Irish bar through study at the King's Inns. In total, 50 Indian students studied at UCD between 1914 and 1917. Giri and a fellow law student also enrolled to study on the full Bachelor of Arts course in UCD. Giri studied English when he was lectured by Thomas McDonough and political economy. His lecturer in political economy was the reformer and cooperativist Thomas F. Finley. During the First World War, Giri travelled from Dublin to London and met Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi wanted for Giri to join the Imperial War effort as a Red Cross volunteer. Giri initially acceded to Gandhi's request but later regretted his decision. According to one of Giri's biographers, Gandhiji, with his characteristic magnanimity, relieved Giri of the obligation to join the Red Cross and did not breathe a word about it to anyone. Giri was active in both Indian and Irish politics during his studies. Along with fellow Indian students, he produced a pamphlet documenting the abuse of Indians in South Africa. The pamphlet was intercepted by Indian political intelligence and resulted in increased police security of Giri and his fellow students in Dublin. Meanwhile, anonymous articles were written by Indian students for the newspaper of the Irish Volunteers and in the National Student, a UCD student magazine. He was suspected of association with prominent ring leaders in the 1916 rising, including James Connolly, Battering H. Pierce, and the young Amon D. Valera. Giri was called to the Irish bar on 21st June 1916, but he did not complete his studies for a BA in UCD. Indian students were subjected to police raids following the 1916 rising, and Giri recounts how he was served with 1 month's notice to leave Ireland on 1st June 1916. Upon returning to India in 1916, Giri enrolled at the Madras High Court. He also became a member of the Congress Party, attended its Lucknow session, and joined the Home Rule movement of Annie Besant. Giri abandoned a flourishing legal career in response to Mahatma Gandhi's call for a non-cooperation movement in 1920. In 1922, he was arrested for the first time of demonstrating against the sale of liquor shops. Giri was closely associated with the labor and trade union movement in India throughout his career. Giri was a founding member of the All India Railwaymen's Federation, which was formed in 1923, and served as its general secretary for over a decade. He was elected president of the All India Trade Union Congress for the first time in 1926. Giri also founded the Bengal Nagpur Railway Association, and in 1928 led the workers of the Bengal Nagpur Railway in a non-violent strike for the rights of retrenched workers. The strike succeeded in forcing the British Indian government and the management of the railway company to concede the workers' demands, and is regarded as a milestone in the labor movement in India. In 1929, the Indian Trade Union Federation was formed by Giri, N.M. Joshi, and others, with Giri as the president. The split with the AITUC came about over the issue of cooperating with the Royal Commission on Labour. Giri and the ITUF leadership of liberals decided to cooperate with the commission, while the AITUC decided to boycott it. The ITUF merged with the AITUC in 1939, and Giri became a president of the AITUC for a second time in 1942. Giri was the workers' delegate of the Indian delegation at the International Labour Conference of the ILO in 1927. At the second roundtable conference, Giri was present as a representative of the industrial workers of India. Giri worked towards getting the trade unions to support the freedom movement in India, and was vice president of the AITUC, which was closely allied with the Indian National Congress. Giri became a member of the Imperial Legislative Assembly in 1934. He remained its member until 1937 and emerged a spokesman for matters of labor and trade unions in the Assembly. In the general elections of 1936, Giri defeated the Raja of Pupili to become a member of the Madras Legislative Assembly. Between 1937 and 1939, he was Minister for Labour and Industry in the Congress government headed by C. Rajagopalachari. Giri was appointed governor of the National Planning Committee of the Indian National Congress in 1938. In 1939, the Congress ministers resigned in protest against the British decision to make India a party in the Second World War. Having returned to the labor movement, Giri was arrested and spent 15 months in prison until March 1941. Following the launch of the Quit India movement, Giri was imprisoned again by the colonial government in 1942. He remained in prison when the AITUC met in Nagpur in 1943, where he was the president election. Giri served his sentence in the Vellore and Amaravati prisons. Giri remained in prison for 3 years, his longest sentence, until his release in 1945. In the general elections of 1946, Giri was re-elected to the Madras Legislative Assembly and became a minister, again in the charge of the labour portfolio under T. Prakasam. Giri was sworn in as President of India on 24 August 1969 and held office until 24 August 1974, when he was succeeded by Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed. On his election, Giri became the only president to have also an acting president and the only person to be elected president as an independent candidate. As President, Giri unquestioningly accepted Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's decision to sack the Charan Singh ministry in Uttar Pradesh and advised her to go in for early elections in 1971. The ordinance abolishing privacy, pursuits and privileges of the erstwhile rulers of India's princely states was promulgated by Giri after the government's original amendment was defeated in the Rajya Sabha. His advice to Prime Minister Gandhi against the appointment of A.N. Rai as the Chief Justice of India, superseding three judges senior to him, was ignored by her, as was his warning that crackdown on striking railwaymen would only exacerbate the situation. As President Giri made 14 state visits to 22 countries in South and Southeast Asia, Europe, and Africa. V.V. Giri died of a heart attack in his Madras residency on 24 June 1980. He was given a state funeral the next day, and a week-long mourning period was declared by the Government of India. Rajya Sabha, of which Giri had been ex officio chairman as Vice President of India, adjourned for 2 days as a mark of respect to him. Did you see like this video? Please share and subscribe. Thank you. Good day.